Are teens in The Sims 4 going to make their parents mad like in real life? Can they do drugs? Good question, Cat Mank. Now that a state that was once the setting for a popular Disney series has given the green thumbs up for regulated legal weed, it's not too out there to think that maybe one day recreational drug use could make it into our beloved franchise. But there's so much to consider. What drugs would they put in? How would it affect the game? And at the heart of the question, could teenage Sims do it? I don't know where to start. Fortunately, I have a veteran to The Sims games, TheSimSource, to help me out. Ben?
I have been thinking about recreational drug use and whether or not it could be implemented into the Sims franchise for a little while now. I've begun to wonder how it could be executed, taking an innocent game like The Sims and adding a dark side to it. Since it is such an innocent game, I believe they'd probably take the most innocent route in implementing it as a feature by adding more commonly used and more relatable drugs. But what drugs would they add? What do you think, Russ?
Maybe it's just a Netflix binge I've been on, but I think a good place they could start would be meth. Come on, recent dramas have made it relatable. It would be criminalized, and Sims would surely get put away for a while, but it'd be a huge moneymaker in the criminal career track.
That definitely is a good place to start. It would be a very good source of income for however long it lasts, but could drug production become a career track among itself? Simply starting out as a drug dealer out in the public and moving your way up to become the almighty drug lord. This could be more like an ambitious career where it's more hands-on than it is behind the scenes in a rabbit hole.
Let's not get too ambitious. This is drugs we're talking about. Meth in particular. This is the drug that turns your teeth into candy corn. I can't imagine how they would pull off its effects in the game. This is the drug that makes everyone look like Pennsatucky from Orange is the New Black. I really have been binge watching Netflix.
What about having it as a side job? That could be possible, like coming home from a long day of work and drowning your sorrows in money by making and selling a batch of meth. Or maybe it could work better if you had an aromatic garden with some beautiful roses, daisies, and wanted some weed to go with that too, which could be sold by your hired dealers in an Island Paradise resort style business.
You really have thought about this. But ultimately, meth is just way too hardcore for teens. It upped the rating for sure, and that's not something EA's ready to do.
Maybe something a little bit less harsh. What about the heroin? I mean, although it does make you go absolutely insane, but wouldn't it be funny watching your Sims get extremely paranoid every time a police car, or any car for that matter, drives by their house? Or when they start trying to escape things that are chasing them?
And all the while, your Sim will have the floating mood lit. Meth wouldn't work, but I have a feeling heroin is somehow even more problematic. While that image of a young person heating a spoon is forever kept close in our hearts, I just can't see it as a Sims animation. Can you?
It just seems too intense. I mean, it could be possible in The Sims, but it would make the game have a really dark side. Can you even begin to imagine your Sim being so desperate for a high they inject whatever last bits they can? And with all the needle marks, it could get pretty unappealing and pretty hard to look at.
Who says it has to be totally depressing? Maybe when a female Sim injects it into herself, it gives her superpowers and turns her into a heroine. Yeah, see what I did there?
How long would it last? There has to be a crash at some point. How long would this heroine be locked up by her nemesis, the police? Or would there be some sort of heroine's journey to counseling? Wow, I really can push a joke too far, can't I?
Right over the edge. Maybe it lasts 6 hours. Your Sim can leave their house, and if they're spotted by another Sim, they'll be ridiculed. But if they stay out too late, they'll actually be arrested for public intoxication.
Public shaming? Sounds pretty awesome to me.
Cocaine! It's so criminal, there's no way they could add this one, but coke is so popular. If The Sims 4 has its own world adventures, I hope they include a Mexico stand-in. That way when you visit, you can pick up some coke and hide it in your inventory and bring it back to your neighborhood.
Drug cartels in The Sims? Sounds pretty ambitious, but it is always possible. Cocaine would just feel weird in The Sims franchise. Maybe a little bit too dirty for the game. It makes your skin and personality rot, and it's not a very pleasant thing to see on your Sim, and I can guarantee that eating your vegetables won't fix that problem.
Eating vegetables never solved anyone's problem unless it was a nutritional problem. I like stating the obvious. It makes me sound smart for a few seconds. LSD! Had a burp, I was fighting on that one.
LSD is just one of those drugs that makes you have hardcore hallucinations. It could actually be hilarious watching your sim see these kinds of hallucinations, just watching them go all crazy from the drugs. But it would also make them sleepy all the time, so it could make it harder to play as that sim. I guess you could always just turn free will on and let them be, well, free.
Or you could keep them under your oppressive thumb for the rest of their worthless little lives.
I think it would be cool turning free will off and repeatedly forcing your sim to get stoned from LSD. I wonder how they'd be affected by that.
They'd have a green moodlet that says trippin' balls on it. Good for several hours at least. But do you think teenagers could use it in the game?
It would only make sense having teenagers getting involved with drugs, but I haven't heard of many teenagers getting addicted to LSD lately. It just seems a little bit too far off base. I don't think that many teenagers would connect with a sim who's hooked on acid.
You're right, but they would connect to a sim hooked on weed! It's modern, hip, and as I mentioned, legal in parts of the United States already. This is the #1 best bet they would have on adding a drug into The Sims.
It would work. Teens, adults, pretty much everyone could connect, and it wouldn't completely destroy your sim physically or mentally.
Your sim could grow it on their lot? Sims with high gardening skill yield the best product?
Professional weed dealing? What a feature! You could also have an intimidation skill to sell whatever you grow.
That sounds like it'd work like charisma. At the end of the day, it's weed. You hardly need intimidation to sell it.
I guess that is a good point, but you should need some form of a skill to be dealing drugs. Something that you need to work towards, like a goal. My main question is, can teens sell drugs to people? Will they be able to get affiliated in the drug industry?
Well, if teens can be users, they also should be able to be sellers. But if we're agreed that weed is the best bet, then there's nothing else for me to do but go to the streets and ask real Sims fans what they think about adding weed into The Sims.
I guess it is. The real Sims fans should know exactly what to say.
Thanks for giving me your 2 cents, Ben.
You're welcome. It was all the change in my pocket. But all kidding aside, thank you as well.
But that's right. In my next video, I will be interviewing real people in person about what they think on adding weed into The Sims 4. It'll be crazy some of the answers I get, but I encourage you to watch a special cut of the interviews on the TheSimSource's channel. He has footage of the interviews that will not be in my upcoming video. So if you want to see a sneak peek of it now, his video is the only place to see it. And that footage, again, won't be in my video, so he is the only person who has those interviews. Go check it out. In the meantime, subscribe to the TheSimSource's channel for Sims 4 news and awesome Let's Plays. Subscribe to my channel for more of the same crap I've been doing. And remember, kids, smoke.